Okay, let's finish off coding our HTML email newsletter. Just a few things to do, mainly around typography. And let's start this video by going over to Google Fonts and getting the code to load up those fonts in our browser. So the first one, the kind of display font that I've got, for better or worse, is called Grand Hotel. I'm going to select this font by clicking the select style, and I can go over to the little embed tab over here, and I'm going to import that into my CSS. So I don't need the style tag, I just need the import string there. I'm going to copy that, head back over to my CSS, and I'm going to add it right at the top of my style sheet, like so. The other font that I need is called Montserrat, so I'm going to browse fonts, and it's this guy here. So I'm going to select I think I'm going to go for regular, and bold. Oh, and look at that, it's actually adding all of those fonts together into one string. So that's pretty good. I can grab that, that code, and I'll just replace what I had here. So it looks to me like it's including both of those fonts. In that reference there, I can see that it's got Hotel Grand, Family, and also Montserrat, which is pretty good. Now we just need to include the rule for the CSS. And I'm going to just copy the Montserrat first and add that into my body. I'm going to add Montserrat font family to the whole of the body, like so, and we should see that update there, which is pretty good. Now it's my welcome that has the other font. What was it called? It was called Grand Hotel. So I'll go back and grab that in a sec. I do want to fix up some of this this line height. Really, it's all a little bit packed together there. So I'm going to add some line height. Of about 1.6 ems. Now ems is a relative increment, different to pixels, which are absolute increments. So when you say 16 pixels, you know that that's an exact absolute measurement, whereas ems are a relative measurement. And 1 em refers to 1 unit of body text height, which is usually about 16 pixels, but it varies from browser to browser and screen to screen. Using ems is very good when it comes to responsive design. So when we're working for multiple screens, designing for multiple outcomes, it's good to use a relative increment. What else do I need to do there? I think that's all okay for my body. I'm going to move down and start working on the individual typographic HTML elements. For example, we're going to add in, we're going to target the H1, and we'll bring in that Grand Hotel reference, font family reference. Bring that, pop that into our H1, and we can see there that that's changed. We might have to alter that a little bit. The color is similar to the header background. You can probably copy that from the header background, this color here. That's the color of the text. Font size, we'll bring it up. Bring it up to let's do it in M's, and that will make it nice and big. 4 times body height, body text height, and we're going to add some paragraph spacing using a margin. So a margin top and bottom of 40 pixels and 0 at the sides. Oops. Excellent. We've got a H2 heading down here. Let's style the H2 heading. We can target it and add our rules inside of the H2. Again, it's going to use the that green color. Super good. We'll make it a bit bolder, so we can add font weight of 700. So apologies for that little break there. I'd incorrectly copied or incorrectly selected one of my Montserrat font weights here. I hadn't clicked the regular 400, so I've had to update our import rule there, and I've actually added it up the top there. And you can see now that it's looking a bit better. I've actually got the regular Montserrat for my body copy there, and you can see here that on the web we don't use terms like light, regular and bold. We actually use a code for recognizing those different type font weights, and you can see that we're bringing in the Montserrat 400 and the Montserrat 700. So the Montserrat 400 is for our body copy, and I've just added in the H2 font weight is 700, so that bolds out that font just a little bit more, which is good. Let's add a target paragraphs so that we can space out the paragraphs a little bit. So we'll add some margin, and we'll add the margin just to the bottom. So we can actually have margin bottom, margin top, margin left and margin right. And then we can just add one single increment in there and hopefully spaces out those headings a little bit. While we're doing that, we might put some margin into the H1, space that out a little bit as well. Might even alter that to be margin bottom and margin top. Just to get some space above that heading and below that heading. So that's looking pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with what's going on there. Text is all spaced out. Obviously we'd want to have some more dummy text in there or some proper content. Just got to look at fixing up that footer link, and that would probably kind of finish off our design. So let's go to our spot in the text where our footer is. It would seem appropriate for me to keep any styles relating to the footer fairly close by. We're going to style a footer anchor tag. So we're specifying the footer, and then inside the footer any anchor tags that might be in the footer element. We'll we'll want to change the color. It's going to start off white, which is FFF. We're going to take away the our links underline. We can do that with text decoration. And set that to none. Super good. We'll bring the font size down a bit. We'll make that 0.8 ems. So that's 0.8 of the size that it currently was, just to make it a little bit smaller. We can see that that's a link, our cursor's changing. And I think that's all I'm going to do there at the moment. I might add in a hover state. So if we go footer A and then we add the pseudo class of hover, we can add a rollover effect so that when we roll over our link, it changes color. And I'm simply going to change the color for that link there. Color, we'll make it the same green. What was it? 79C142. Super good. And we can see there's our link in place. So there we have it. We've completely built from scratch and replicated. We've built up our HTML email newsletter in HTML using HTML markup and CSS markup, and we've replicated our design that we built earlier on. So we came up with a solid concept, a solid look and feel and layout of what we wanted to achieve, and then we worked through marking up the HTML and then working out what CSS we need to implement, as well as making sure we have all the right assets that we need for the job, those being type fonts that we need to bring in, images that we need to kind of generate in an application like Photoshop, or more kind of content-based images that we need to source from libraries like Unsplash.